All right, the most measured human being alive just found out his own body has been attacking itself for years and nobody caught it. Bryan Johnson. He sold Braintree and Venmo to PayPal for $800 million, walked away with about $300 million of that, and then decided he was going to solve aging. He spends around $2 million a year on it. 30 plus doctors, over 100 supplements a day at his peak, continuous biomarker tracking. He has said publicly that he wants to make death optional. In May, he got diagnosed with autoimmune gastritis. His words, not mine. His stomach is eating itself. They found it in chasing years of low ferritin that nobody on his team could explain. His antiparietal cells were 5 times the normal limit. In the biopsies, it actually showed that his stomach lining was starting to atrophy already. It had been building silently for years in the most monitored body on the planet. Now, here's the part in the video where I'm supposed to dunk on him, and I'm not gonna do that because the guy publishes all of his data, all of it, including this. He caught it early, and he caught it precisely because he measures. Most people with a condition like this would find out years and years later after the damage has already been done. He's already cut his stack down from 111 pills down to about 30. He's doing the honest thing in public right now, literally while people line up to laugh at him. And personally, I'm not interested in that. And the problem was never his sincerity. The problem was the idea underneath it. Here's what gets me. He was measuring everything, but yet he understood the least. Autoimmune disease is genetics plus a trigger. You carry the susceptibility already, something tips it, and then your immune system thinks that your own body is the enemy. At least half of autoimmune diseases get set off by unknown triggers, and nobody knows what sets it off. But here's the part that never makes it into the dashboard. Up to 80% of people with an autoimmune condition report unusual emotional stress in the period before it started. There's a study of over 100,000 people with stress-related disorders showing higher rates of autoimmune diagnosis than their own siblings. Not their neighbors, their siblings. Same genes, different load. So, susceptibility is written in your genes, and the trigger is written in your terrain. The problem is that terrain doesn't show up on a biomarker panel. Nobody has invented a blood test for the year your life fell apart. You can have over 300 data points on your body, but no data points whatsoever on what's happening to it. I know this because I lived the other side of it. I have ulcerative colitis, autoimmune. My body decided that my colon was the problem, and I was 19 when I got diagnosed. A couple of months before my first event, my grandmother died. A little backstory, my grandmother basically raised me. She was the type of person that you could show up on her doorstep at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday with a buddy, unannounced, and she would just start cooking for you right then and there on the spot. No questions asked, no noticed. She just showed up, and it was amazing. She was always the type of person that would help take care of me no matter what. No questions, no nothing. And then she was gone. A couple of months later, I had my first ulcerative colitis flare. Now, I'm not telling you that stress gave me ulcerative colitis because the susceptibility was always there, but something tipped it off. And I know exactly what was going on in my life at the time that it got tipped off. So then I did what you do, started searching. And I want to be very specific about what I mean when I say searching, because when people hear the word searching, they figured you started doing something reasonable. Every single symptom had to be explained immediately. My skin changed? Why? My sleep changed? Why? My stool changed? Why? I had zero tolerance for basically any unanswered questions about what was going on in my own body. I would introduce 3 different supplements at once and then try and figure out which one did what. Look, that's not a science experiment. That is a lot of noise with a hopeful attitude. One symptom would come up and I would generate 10 theories and rebuild my whole entire model of biology from scratch. Again, methylation, histamine, mold, gut permeability, detoxification, hormones, etc. Every observation reopened everything. And underneath it all, there was a belief that I never said out loud. If I don't figure this out fast enough, I'm going to lose everything I had already gained. That was actually what was driving this. Not curiosity, fear. I ran that for years. Bryan Johnson does the same thing that I was doing, except with hundreds of millions of dollars and 30 plus doctors. I was basically Bryan Johnson with no money, which mostly means I was just insane. And here's the thing I need you to actually hear, because it is literally the whole point. From the inside, it did not feel like neurosis. It felt like diligence. It felt like actually taking my health seriously. It felt like being the one person who was actually going to be able to get to the bottom of it. Nobody in it can see it. And trust me, it's not a character flaw. That's the design. What got me out of it was not actually trying harder. It was getting more specific. I got my genes tested, 35 of them, and what came back was not more to do. It was actually less. That is the part that nobody expects. A gene panel is a fixed set of questions with a fixed set of answers. Mine could not tell me 100 things because it doesn't know 100 things. At the top end, you're looking at maybe 16 supplements, and depending on your variance, a good chunk of that collapses into a B complex. The ceiling is not discipline. The ceiling is math. And your genes do not change. You test once and you're done. There's no quarterly review panel. There's no subscription tying you to your DNA, and there's nothing getting you back to remeasure because your genes are fixed and there is nothing to remeasure. The search stopped. And the search was the thing that was actually eating me. Not the supplements, not the diet, the searching. I got my attention back. That is the actual product, not the supplements, my attention. I will give you the smallest possible example of what changed in me, and it's one that's going to tell you everything. Last year, my tooth started bothering me. Old me would have ran the whole entire tree. Is it my enamel? Is it tooth decay? Is it something in my water? Is it my toothpaste? Is it genetic? Is this the start of something systemic? New me went to the dentist. He said that I had a mild case of gingivitis. I said, cool. That's it. Conversation over. That is it. That is the whole entire difference. It sounds like nothing, but trust me when I tell you this, it is not nothing. So let me say the thing that's probably going to sound a little backwards. I'm not telling you to stop caring about your health. I'm actually telling you the opposite of that. What I'm trying to say is that if health is the thing that is driving you every single day, every other part of your life is going to be paying for it. There's a difference between something you need to do and something you need to worry about. Nobody spirals on doing. Nobody ever went down a giant rabbit hole because they went on a walk, ate some real food, and got some good sleep at night. You see, people spiral on knowing. More tests, more markers, more variables, one more thing to know, one more thing that might be the answer. That is where the hole is, and that has always been where the hole is. And the cost is not measured in dollars or pills. It is measured in attention. And whatever you're spending on it, you are not spending on your kids or your work or your family or the thing that you're actually trying to build. I got healthy and I got my attention back and I decided to put it into a company. That is what the room is for on the other side of this. And I'll leave you guys with this. Health should be a background process, not your whole personality. You don't wake up in the morning and think, my knee feels really good today. It's just your knee.